And what's up? Welcome back in a GC quick cast talking about the brand new South Carolina commitment. As always, we're brought to you by Clint Hammond, ClintHammond.com, 803-771-6933. Chris, South Carolina adds a commitment from Keenan Nelson Jr., four-star defensive back. I dare say puts a cherry on the top of this defensive back class. I imagine they'll keep recruiting guys. That's a position you want to – if there's a great player out there, you want to keep working them. But as far as just adding numbers, adding talent, this class, exactly what South Carolina needed, a need position. Four-star kid, as I said, and now officially, if you look at the Rivals rankings, South Carolina's highest rated commitment, replacing Ryan Brubaker as far as that distinction goes. He was, prior to the commitment of Nelson, Brubaker was the highest rated guy. But huge news, the welcome home is revealed. Beamer teased it out to everybody on Sunday afternoon. Today, Nelson puts it out there, makes it official. Before we get into him as a player, Chris, let's talk just a little bit about what this means for South Carolina around college football, what it means to the fan base, adding another big-time kid, adding a four-star prospect to the mix.
Well, and I think you hit on that. The first thing that stands out, need position. And so this gives South Carolina 6 defensive back commitments, all of a high quality. The third defensive back commitment that's ranked 4 stars. There are different levels, obviously, to those star rankings for each of the guys, those being Emory Floyd out of Georgia, Anthony Rose out of Florida, and now Nelson Jr. But the last time, South Carolina's done this actually recently. Had to go back and look, Wes, because I couldn't quite remember. But in the 2019 class, a trio of 4-star defensive backs, and those were Jamie Robinson and John Dixon and Cam Smith. Now, 2 of those guys transferred out of the program during the coaching change, but nonetheless, that was 3 guys that had talent, right? One of them, Cam Smith, still on the roster. But this is the first time in a while that South Carolina has been able to land this quality, at least on paper, of a defensive back class. On top of it, on top of those 3, you add in some of the other guys, that are committed. You've got Peyton Williams and Javonte McClendon and Kawan Banks all added to that mix. So some volume as well as some quality here at a huge need position for the Gamecocks. The other thing that stood out right off the bat, Wes, is what you hit on with Ryan Brubaker. Now South Carolina's top 2 commitments in terms of star rating in this class, both from the state of Pennsylvania, and both guys that South Carolina was in a recruiting battle with Penn State for and other schools. So we knew that the Northeast would be a big point of emphasis for Shane Beamer and his staff with some of the ties that they brought. They're putting their money where their mouth is with that and talking about that state being a priority, not that state, but that region, the DMV, Pennsylvania. We've seen them reach into New York. And so they've been able to do that now, and they've done it by pulling out a quality defensive back commitment from Philly.
Yeah, Philly, PA, St. Joseph's High School. Chris, the number 134 overall prospect in the country, number 18 cornerback in the country, and the number 3 overall prospect in Pennsylvania. So the numbers are all there. And this really, for the most part, has been a South Carolina Penn State battle. I don't want to know if you want to say from the beginning, but for a long time now, those 2 schools have been the ones that have been mentioned. He took official visits to both schools in June. You sort of wondered, could South Carolina go into the state and beat out Penn State for the kid? The official visit went great. Torian Gray has done a great job here. Pete Limbo has done a really, really good job working those Northeast areas for South Carolina, sort of finding guys that he feels like South Carolina was in at least a position to make a move with. Nelson ended up being that. And for all the talk about J.C. Horn and Chris Graves from some people on social media, there are some connections here where one of Nelson's trainers also has connections with J.C. Horn, with Izzy McQuamu. Has apparently there's been positive reinforcement about the South Carolina program, about the fan base, about what this place is possible, what is possible at this place, I should say. So give some kudos to Horn, to McQuamu for, I would say, not the closing job with Nelson, but sort of letting Nelson know, hey, this is a school you should look at.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great point. There was a lot of conversation about that with Horn recently with Graves. And so, again, there's been nothing but positives with Horn, especially with he came back on campus last month. We discussed that in a recent GC Live episode. So a helpful assist there. And look, South Carolina did a really good job. The staff did with Nelson. This isn't an easy deal where you can go into Pennsylvania and pluck a couple of guys, and Keenan Nelson and Ryan Brubaker, who are 4-star guys who are highly regarded at their positions, who have 20-something plus offers from Penn State and a bunch of other top programs kind of around the country. Notre Dame was a school that was in the mix early for Nelson. I remember early it was Notre Dame, Penn State, South Carolina. That was kind of the core group, and then it kind of narrowed to Penn State, South Carolina. This isn't an easy thing to do, especially in year one for the staff, where this is the first real class, and they haven't even had 2 years to help build this one, right? It's been a shorter time frame. But once they got in on Nelson with Limbo's connections, Torian Gray, Shane Beamer, Clayton White, the entire staff, I think they did a really good job, had a great official visit last month, and that provided kind of the springboard for them to be able to land him.
Let's go out to the film, Chris. Obviously, 4-star guy, highly rated. That means generally some of the measurables are going to be there. The things you're looking for: size, speed, hips. As you see right here, he'll hit you as well. I think another guy though for South Carolina that brings some versatility to the table. I know if you start looking at that list and you see all the guys listed as a safety, although I still think Anthony Rose can play cornerback all day, in my opinion. For South Carolina, you're probably hoping this kid can be more of a corner or like a cover type nickel, somebody that can match up in coverage, but still, depending on how things work out, the versatility is here to play safety as well. What are your thoughts on him as a player as we watch the film right now?
I am intrigued by exactly what you mentioned, with kind of a corner or a nickel that has good size, that can match up with guys, be big enough to hold up, have coverage skills to hold up as well. And you see on film, he's playing corner. He's got good size. He can move. He can cover. And so that's what you look for out there. And I just go back to what was discussed during the official visit, and talking to Nelson. Gamecock Central, of course, talked to Nelson after his official visit. And that was one of the questions posed of what's the staff have outlined for you in terms of your role. And he said, look, I've talked with Torian Gray, and he thinks I'm a versatile guy. So I can play corner, but I can also play nickel. I can also play safety. And so, we've talked about this before, Wes. You don't want to take a bunch of guys that maybe you're not even sure what they can play, and so they end up not being able to play anything well. But it's okay to have guys that are versatile if they are going to fit in a specific place. So there are a couple or a few guys in this class that are maybe more of this guy's a safety or this guy's a corner. But certainly taking some guys with skill and versatility that can play multiple spots, kind of wherever you get on the field earliest, wherever you project the best, Keenan Nelson fits into that category.
Chris, obviously Gamecock fans are excited right now. They have every reason to be. Really nice pickup here for South Carolina. I think this welcome home got hyped up a little bit, and in this case, it's lived up to it, rightfully so. And that's number 16, public commit number 16 for South Carolina. They're in the top 15 of the Rivals team rankings. We'll see if they can hold on to that spot as more numbers come in from other schools. But hey, there are some big-time guys still left on the board. Oscar Delp, Antonio Williams, Jaden Gibson, Jamari Lyons. I can go on and on. If South Carolina can continue to land some of those guys, maybe they can hold on to this top 15 or, top 20 type recruiting class. So we're going to stay on it. Keep reading. Keep checking us out, GamecockCentral.com. We've got complete coverage, Chris, of Keenan Nelson's commitment, and I'm going to encourage everybody to come on over and see what we got, because I think we got a pretty good bit of good stuff.
Yeah, man, lots of content, as we always try to do with every commitment, not just a headline that a guy committed, but kind of diving in of how it happened, what it means for the short and the long-term future of the program. But definitely some positive vibes in this class, not only for the volume that they've accrued, but some of the quality too. And so Keenan Nelson hitting a huge need, giving them a talent at a big position of need for this class, and continuing the recruiting momentum rolling as we go through July.
All right, y'all, that's going to do it. That's our Keenan Nelson Jr. CommitCast, 4-star DB. Of course, as always, we're brought to you by our good friend Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network. We'll see you all on GamecockCentral.com.